Hi everyone and welcome to our announcement video. My name's Oliver McAllister and I work at Asmodee, and this is my guest for today. This is Patrick O'Rourke from Hasbro. Say hi, Patrick.
Hey, Ollie, thanks for having me.
So everyone, we're here today to talk to you about HeroQuest. Actually, just before we got on here, Patrick and I were just talking about how the Hasbro Pulse Lab postings of the HeroQuest game have started to hit. They've started to arrive in the USA. They've started to arrive in the UK. Hopefully any day now we'll see people ripping open those HeroQuest games for the very first time, which is going to be really exciting. So we're here today to tell you that we are going to start pre-sales of, or pre-orders as we sometimes call them in the UK as well, of the HeroQuest game in the UK and Europe through independent retail and hobby stores. So this game is going to be available to everyone else out there, and it is going to be available at general sale as well, all those great places. It's going to be available in the UK, and it's also going to be available in other European countries as well, thanks to the partnership between Asmodee and Hasbro to bring these products into the market in a more consistent basis. So it's not just going to be that sort of one Hasbro Pulse project and then it's done. This is going to be an ongoing product that is going to be available in the market, which is amazing. Thank you,
Yeah.
Patrick.
No, thank you. And thanks to everybody who's helped us keep the HeroQuest alive. And we plan to keep it alive, as long as everyone's having a good time playing.
And that's amazing. And so I mean, Patrick, just one of those things is like, what does HeroQuest mean to you? Where have you come from yourself? What does it mean in your sort of your lifetime?
Yeah, well, Ollie, as you know, HeroQuest for a lot of us kind of marks that first moment where you started to realize you might be a little different than those other kids. Maybe I put it that way, right? Some people had their sports, they had their football or their basketball or whatever, and then you saw that box, right? That big box sitting at a Toys R Us or wherever, and you're instantly attracted to that thing. And I would say HeroQuest really serves as that first touch point I had with miniatures. I really got into RPGs. I'm a very active Dungeons and Dragons player today, and none of that really would have happened without HeroQuest. The first exposure, the first time you fill out, this little character sheet right here and realize that you're actually in control of a hero as they have to explore this dungeon. It was a really magical experience, and something that also allowed both the rules and the constructs of the game as well as your imagination to kind of run wild. Taking on the role of Zargon or Morkar and creating your own dungeons, all of that was like unleashed this sort of creativity and excitement about gaming in me that, obviously sitting here talking to you today led to a career and everything. So games like HeroQuest are definitely hold a really special place in my heart.
And I think you've hit it absolutely on the head there. And I think a lot of people from sort of a similar sort of generation will have that same experience with HeroQuest. They will know that Milton and Bradley's original HeroQuest box set, and they remember that first time where they broke it open. And it's just so much stuff in that HeroQuest game, and something that wasn't replicated for such a long time after it came out either. And even when it did, it was completely different. It's just a groundbreaking product in our industry, and that's why so many people remember it so fondly. And when I was younger, I remember playing HeroQuest over and over again, and you end up if you're playing it with your friends, and then you'll end up playing it by yourself and playing through all the all the characters and trying to work out which one was your favorite, and trying to do the dungeons just with the wizard, and then that maybe doesn't work, and so maybe trying something else. It's a great place to go from, and also it's something that, as you said, it started a path for so many people that helped define part of what they were, part of what they enjoyed. If not for games like HeroQuest and Dungeons and Dragons, I wouldn't have experienced all the other games. I wouldn't have gotten into other RPGs, Dungeons and Dragons. I wouldn't run 90s Vampire the Masquerade games in the 90s. I probably wouldn't have worked for Games Workshop. I probably wouldn't have run my own game store. I probably wouldn't have ended up working for Esdevium, which then became Asmodee later on. So all these things come from the inspiration of this game, and that is such a big part of our sort of childhood. It's such a big part of sort of our gaming history as well. And so it's
Yeah.
absolutely amazing that we can bring that back into the market, and so many people can experience it again for another time, but also for so many they can share it with others for the first time as well, and that is going to be fantastic.
There's something really special, I think, and this is just a HeroQuest love fest, but there's something really special about the board of HeroQuest that I don't think has ever been recreated the same way in any sort of dungeon crawler. Stephen Baker was able to figure out a way to make that board into something that was simple and easy to set up and think through, but each game experience being very, very different. Each quest, like it has both the confinements to make it not too difficult to figure out what's going on, but it also allowed a lot of freedom for customization and fun. And I don't think any game comes to mind that has done it as eloquently as HeroQuest.
No, I completely agree. That board in itself, you look at how Dungeon Delve games have evolved since then. As you said, Stephen Baker, when he designed the game originally, he had everything in that one pull-out board, and it is.
Oh, I just knocked
Oh
minis all over the
wow!
ground.
Oh
But look at this
no!
thing.
Oh no!
I know. I
But
know.
here
And these
it
rad
is.
colors.
And it's just how you
Yeah.
use and reuse those rooms over and over again in the same area. And as anyone that has played any Dungeon Delve games since then, you know that Dungeon Delves have often sort of evolved into games where you build dungeons that go on and on and on and on and on, and oh, I've got to move everything because everything just fell off the table. I don't have enough space for this. Is it going to
That's
fit?
right.
Is it not? Hang on, let's just take this. Let's take the beginning off. Hopefully we won't have to go back there, and let's shuffle everything down. You never had any of that with HeroQuest. Here's the board. Everything, all the action is going to happen here, and that is really special. I say all the action happens there. I think in some of the expansions, I think they had separate places, didn't they, where they expanded out into the
They did.
forest and to other caves and stuff. But you know, generally speaking, the game happens in that core board, and how you reuse that over and over again is really classic.
Yeah. Yeah. It's again, it's simplicity adds to its elegance, I think, in gameplay and sort of that ability to, you know, if your friends weren't around, your mom could jump in and play and have a good time too. Once you know, I love Dungeons and Dragons, but once you get up to that level, the ability to jump in and start playing becomes a lot more difficult.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So out of interest, so just in case people haven't seen this before, are there any differences between the sort of classic version of HeroQuest and the new version that has now come out and is going to be coming out shortly again to retail, as we said? Are there big differences between the two types?
I wouldn't say big differences, but what I would say is we've updated all of the art and all of the miniatures. So the miniatures are much more detailed, much more up to people's expectations today. We really, you know, love miniatures. We had a lot of fun sculpting these and reimagining them. Here's the new gargoyle, I think is a great example. Let me know if that's in focus because I really can't tell.
Back a little bit, I think.
Back a little
There
bit
you go.
here.
Yeah, wow, he's
But
cool.
but as you can see, you know, still very much inspired by the original, but updated for today. Another thing we did is we put them on 1-inch round bases so they could fit, you know, and we changed the grid of the board as well to be a 1-inch grid. So if you were to use this miniature in another game, you could, right? It's a more universal size, which original HeroQuest didn't have. Outside of that, we really focused on keeping the integrity of the game the way people remember it and love it. That includes roll to move mechanics and stuff that, you know, some hardcore nerds today might say it isn't necessarily their cup of tea, but it is something that we thought was authentic to the game experience, and we didn't want to mess with the good thing.
And I think that's exactly it, though, isn't it? If you move away from things like that, it's moving too far away from what we
Agreed.
remember to be the HeroQuest experience, and that is why it is the way it is. I also remember looking at, you know, some people might go back and remember the game, and they might go, well, some of the scenarios they were relatively uncomplex to complete. You know, they were, if I didn't make too many mistakes and the dice weren't really against me, there's a good chance I can succeed the quest and beat the bad guy. And of course, the thing you've got to remember here is that this was a game designed for the age group of like 10 to 12-year-olds. We wanted it to be something that was, accessible, and also something that, as you said, you could bring your family into as well. Because if you're really into the game, but you want more players, you're going to rope mom and dad to come and play the game with you. And we want that to be a fun and easy to get into experience as well.
Absolutely. And if you want that extra crunch and that extra challenge, Return of the Witch Lord and Keller's Keep, there's some brutal maps in there that are hard to solve. So again, what's great about the system is, you can have these quests that everybody can play together, but you can really upscale them, add some monsters, build your own maps that make it pretty difficult, if that's your desire. But again, that's what's great about the flexibility of HeroQuest is you could play pure run through. You got a friend playing for the first time and you're being Zargon, you can scale it appropriately to their expertise.
Now that's fantastic. So you mentioned the expansions there as well, Patrick. So will we be expecting to see the expansions as well?
Yeah, you can count on us going through the library and pulling out some the expansions that are loved and ones that we think will continue to be played today. Again, Return of the Witch Lord and Keller's Keep are two that were part of the original HasLab campaign that we do plan on bringing back. And there's a few others that we've got our eyes on. In addition to that, we don't want to just be, taking old things out of the vault. We also are looking at new ways to tell new stories and new dungeons to explore. So that's something that we're looking at. I can't speak definitively about dates or specific products or anything, but
that could be really exciting. We could see potentially in the future completely new HeroQuest content, which is something we've not seen for well over a decade. That would be amazing.
Yeah, because Ali, I'm going to be completely real with you. When we initially launched HeroQuest, there was a group of us at Hasbro on the Avalon Hill team who loved HeroQuest. We have this big closet full of old games. And I remember I walked in, it was like my third day on the job, and HeroQuest was sitting there, and I pulled it down. I was like, oh, HeroQuest is here, as one does. And I moved it to my desk. And then as I had it on my desk, a couple of designers and stuff walked by, and they were like, oh, HeroQuest. So we started playing it again. And that's where the HasLab campaign came from, was this love of HeroQuest. And we're like, we should really figure out a way to bring this back. So that core team is still the team working on it now. This is still a total passion project for myself as well as others. And so as long as people are excited to keep playing, as I said before, we're excited to keep exploring the game system and bringing it to life.
So that is really exciting to hear. So we're not only expecting those classic 2 expansions, but potentially maybe more expansions that have yet to be revealed yet, might happen to arrive at some point. Who knows? But
who knows
also
when?
New content from the team as well. That would be absolutely fantastic. I believe we also have another reveal as well to talk to about people with the pre-sales of this copy. There is going to be an exclusive figure.
There is a short run figure of a new playable hero, the Guardian Knight of the Frozen North. I do have some factory samples here that I can show you, but this is a completely new, never before made playable character. We have it in 2 different sculpts. We have a male version. Again, it's hard with these webcams to show these things off, but they're beautiful. We also have, this is the female version here. So it comes in both genders, depending on how you want to play.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. So it's going to be a completely new playable class, and this is going to be, oh wow,
yeah, with custom stats as well as some custom moves as well. Their special ability, or what we wanted to focus on, is their ability to protect their friends in battle. So they have a certain set of custom moves, again, that aren't available to any other playable characters, that allows them to shield and protect friends in battle. So, they are very much a tank character, and they could also protect that barbarian, or maybe if your wizard has gotten into a rough situation, be able to help out there as well.
Wow. And those are going to be unique to people that get in those pre-sales nice and early with their stores. There will be a limited amount of these figures available. So if you get your pre-orders in with your favored independent retail and gaming store good and early, they will hopefully sort you out for this exclusive figure. That looks cool, Patrick. Fantastic. What else you got?
I'm sitting on a pile of awesome minis here.
Do you have a favorite?
Well, let me see. That's like, that's like picking your favorite kid. Um,
They're all
I
good.
do. Yeah, exactly. What I'd love to talk about is the Abomination. So the Abomination is a monster that we had to craft from our own imagination. So it is one that you haven't seen before,
Oh wow.
which I think is a pretty glorious sculpt here. And of course, we have the heroes as well. And when I knocked over the miniatures, I dropped the dwarf, who I absolutely adore. I know the dwarf. Oh, here he is. Okay, I knocked him over with the board, but yeah, I love this dwarf. How he came out.
Oh my god, that axe is like bigger than his entire body.
That's exactly right. He's amazing. He's amazing.
That is cool. Obviously, as everyone knows, true experts play with the dwarf. It's the real,
That's
hardcore.
right.
It's the real hardcore choice
Yeah.
in HeroQuest.
Here's the wizard. He's the cool guy, always hanging out in the back. I feel like sometime we should make a wizard with a pose where he's just relaxing, as everybody else is entangled in combat, he's casting an occasional spell.
Oh yeah, we're sort of just leaning on the back of his like
Yeah, exactly.
staff. I'm just like here, fireball.
That's right, like a good wizard. He better not be entangled in combat, or
yeah, he's in trouble.
he's in the wrong spot. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, our goblins came out cool too. I love these little guys. I know goblins, they're usually the first ones you fight in the dungeon, but I thought they came out really cool. And another thing that's really interesting about HeroQuest that makes it pretty distinct is the fact that in HeroQuest, the zombies actually carry weapons. So they're not your traditional, slow moving zombies, but they actually have swords.
Yeah. I remember the original, the sculpts had this great big sort of two-handed cleaver in their hands.
Yeah.
That's cool, right?
We had a lot of fun with the design of these as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I love the way you talk about goblins sort of being so, being like, as you said, like the first monster you meet. I think the first interaction you have in a game is so important because it's so important. It sets the whole tone of a game. I find is that first creature you fight, and sometimes think about Dungeons and Dragons games. It's you might fight rats, it might be rats or dogs, but no goblins, kobolds. It's so important, those first creatures, and for them to look cool and engaging, because they really help build up to bigger and nastier experiences as you go along.
Well, totally agree. I also think what's cool about HeroQuest is the furniture, right? Often we see miniatures of monsters and stuff, but in HeroQuest, you really got that taste of terrain. So we do have, and this is an upgrade from the original for anybody remembering, but with the doors, we've actually made them into plastic sculpts rather than that old cardboard that would bend and break. I remember.
Cool. So we have open doors, closed doors now, and in plastic, doors, so they don't just flop and bend over.
I remember in my set when I was a kid, because we were kids, it was just the bottoms we would use and put down and have to remember, because the doors, were all ripped up and torn to shreds by the end there.
So I remember, it's funny you say that. I remember about it a week or so ago, and I was thinking we were going to be talking about HeroQuest, which I'm super excited about. And I went round to my parents' house and sort of checked the old garage just to see. I don't suppose that copy of HeroQuest is still there. Have I still got my pieces for it, sort of thing? Because over time, it got mixed in with all like my other miniatures stuff, and I'm so sad about that now. I look back now and I'm like, I wish I kept it all in one piece, but being young, eventually everything gets scattered everywhere, sort of thing. So it's really cool that the doors are like that. That is funky.
Yeah, it's great. And then a lot of the iconic furniture still there. I like the tomb; it opens, which is great. So if you want to,
that's cool.
You want to hide a skeleton in there or something when you're DMing, the rack. Some very beautiful stuff. Nice. The team did an amazing job on this. I always tell them every time I pick up one of their miniatures, I'm like, you guys are artists and geniuses.
Yeah, and also furniture. People play other role play games, Dungeons and Dragons, all sorts of other games, if you're using terrain or if you're using mats or tiles or wherever it is you use, you're right, furniture is important. It sets the scene.
Oh
you know
yeah.
having your 20 foot by 20 foot box room with an exit and an entrance and a couple of monsters in it just isn't in itself very engaging. But when you start adding in traps, torture devices, trap doors, things above you, things below, that now we're talking. Now we're getting
Yeah.
into an exciting encounter. And
It's a
furniture, as you said,
world.
furniture really sets the scene. It really does.
I mean, you walk into a room and this gets placed down in the middle of it, something's up, right? Like if you were to in real life, you walk into a room and there's a tomb sitting in the middle of it, you'd be like, I don't think I'm going to touch that tomb.
If I walked into a room in real life and I just saw a tomb sitting there, I'd be completely on edge. Actually, I'd probably be out of the room.
Yeah,
I might
that's
be
right.
like, not what I was expecting out there. It's like if I walked into a warehouse and suddenly saw like the Ark of the Covenant or something, or a box that started glowing. You'd probably be like, okay, it's just me. I'm out of
Yeah.
here.
You'd
I've seen
be like
horror
the
movies. I know how this works. If you see a horror movie, you're on your own. There's something creepy. You run the other way.
That's right. You'd be like the wizard and you'd back up and slowly leave the room.
Yeah, that's it. I'm not the barbarian here.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's walk out the door, sort of thing.
I am no meat shield. I will not pretend to be one.
So talking about sort of other characters in the game, obviously we haven't talked about it much, but you're talking about the Overlord character, and there's a couple
Yes.
of things here, and one of them obviously is the name of your adversary in the overall game, and that's Zargon or Morcar. And I can't remember which way around it was. I think it's in the UK, and I think in Europe the Overlord was called Morcar. Or should I say it's the Sorcerer was called Morcar, and
Yep.
then in the US release he was called Zargon. And usually, when you have names for two different things in two different territories in the world, it's because a word doesn't quite fit in that culture, or it might mean something different in slang or something in translation, and it's different. But Zargon and Morcar, why did we have these two names?
I actually don't have a definitive answer on that. It's really funny because I emailed Stephen Baker about it, and the team's been investigating it. And there's a lot of, how do I put it, folklore around the name, but I have no actual definitive facts. So if anybody watching this has the story, please let me know. I will say for the version that we're releasing now, we've unified, and the Overlord is referred to as Zargon, no matter what region you're in. But in my own little way, I always like to pretend that Morcar and Zargon are two different people. They both can exist, can't they?
Absolutely. I mean, I get what you're saying, and obviously it makes sense to use the one name going forward. But there's a part of me that just says, "Hey guys, maybe somewhere in the future, this guy Morcar might make a little guest appearance, maybe, or maybe something happens. Maybe he's like their brothers or their twins, or
Oh,
maybe something bad happens to Morcar. Who knows? But it would be cool to see a little something slip in there. That would be amazing."
yeah. Well, I love that thinking. And one thing that we are focused on is building out the story around HeroQuest more. With each adventure, I'm bending down again to pick things up, but with each adventure in here, you do get to experience the world of HeroQuest and learn a little bit more about Mentor, who's pictured on the DM screen, as well as the heroes and other characters in the world as well. And that's something that has always fascinated myself as well as the team. And something that we're really excited about is that ability to find out more about these characters and some of the things that we've all created when we were playing it the first time around, how we can actually introduce that into the game itself.
That's very cool. So, I mean, just talking about the Overlord and playing Zargon, if someone doesn't want to play Zargon, is there another option out there?
Well, Ollie, I'm so glad you asked that question. Yeah, so we have worked on a companion app, an app that is designed to take the role of Zargon, so everybody at the table can play as one of the adventurers. And the companion app itself will reveal the monsters and traps and the combat of the monsters within the quest. So now you do have that ability, thanks to technology, to not have to force somebody, if they don't want to, take that role.
That's fantastic. So obviously you can play, against each other if you want to, or you can have the app power the bad guys for you. That is really, that's great, and I think I'm be excited to play the game in that format. That would be amazing.
Yeah, the app looks fantastic. It is a big help if you don't want to take on that role of Zargon, but it definitely doesn't replace the board game experience in itself, right? It's just meant to be a companion or an add-on to that experience. So playing the two together can help customize what you're doing and make it to your liking and to what you and your friends want to do.
All right, that's really fantastic. Well, thank you very much for coming to speak to us today, Patrick. But I just want to cover what we've gone through today. We are expecting people are going to start getting their Hasbro Pulse Lab copies of HeroQuest hitting down now. And if you weren't one of those people, didn't even know that HeroQuest was coming back, well, great news for you. Asmodee and Hasbro are both partnering up to make a retail version of this game available. It's going to be we're going to start pre-sales from now, and there is going to be, for people that get those pre-orders in with those stores, an exclusive night figure coming out for you. We're expecting to see copies of this game hit sometime early next year at the moment, so we're really excited to bring this product back out there. We're going to be seeing the expansions available at retail as well as maybe some of the other expansions that came out of the game might be reprinted at another date, and there's plans for new things to expand the HeroQuest world into places where we have never seen it go before, which is absolutely amazing. Have I missed anything, Patrick?
No, you haven't. It was fantastic to speak with you again, Ollie, and this was a lot of fun.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much, Patrick. And most importantly, thank you to all of you out there. I hope you get to pick up this game real soon. I hope you have a great time playing it. All the best now, and take care. Till next time. Happy gaming, everyone.